Hey everybody, we have a very interesting verse today, I think. Looking at Proverbs chapter 16, verse 10, it says, "An oracle is on the lips of a king. His mouth does not sin in judgment." An oracle, what is that? Well, an oracle is a prophecy in Scripture. This isn't like how the Greeks would think, where they would go to the oracle, and the oracle was somebody that was usually demon-possessed or something along those lines. No, an oracle, biblically, is a prophetic word. It was something that was given. You gave an oracle. And it says the king has that on his mouth, and his lips do not sin in judgment. Now, you might hear that, and you go, hold on a second. We don't have a king, but we've got a president, senators, congressmen, governors, judges, whatever. And they sin all the time. So what is the Lord saying here? Well, this is actually a very common principle in Scripture. You see this in Romans chapter 13, for example, where it says that it is God who raises up and establishes every authority, and which is why we're called to obey the authority that God places over us. And what this tells us, by there being a prophetic oracle on the mouth of the king, Solomon is letting us know there is a special grace that God gives to those who are in leadership. There is a special ability, a special way to lead that God gives to those who are in authority over us, especially to kings, rulers, judges, presidents, things like that. We can, I think, see this throughout history where there have been some colossal failures as leaders, but there will be one moment that we look and say, man, they just had it right. That day they got it. Whatever he had for breakfast that day, he should have every day, because that averted a huge crisis. And everything else was a big disaster, but at least they did that. Maybe you've seen this with your boss even, or your pastor. But God gives special grace to those who are in a position of authority. When you're in charge of somebody, when you're making big decisions, God gives you that special ability to make those good decisions in the moment. And I'm so grateful for that, not just because I'm in a position of authority, but because I have to follow these people. I have to listen to what they have to say. And it's hard sometimes to think, but they are so wrong and they're so messed up. What is going on? To remember that God, in fact, gives them special grace. And it's important to know, too, God giving grace to a leader does not mean they're going to always lead the way you want them to lead. In fact, sometimes God is leading the nations in a way that only He can see. And your nation is being lined up so that He can do this big thing over here, or your city, or your town, or whatever it is. And you've got to trust that God knows what He's doing. So listen. This is not unique to this day in America. We are a democratic republic. We vote. We give our opinions. We're invited and expected to have an opinion on how our rulers are ruling and leading. But you need to remember that the heart of the king, another place says, is in the hand of God. God is giving special grace and special words to those that are in leadership. And you might not agree with them. You might have wished the other team had won. Who knows? You need to remember that God is your ultimate king. He's the one who's ultimately in control. And trust that He's able to give even whoever you can't stand the grace to make the right decision in that moment, because God is merciful. He shows mercy even to those who don't deserve it, which includes you and me, by the way. God bless you guys. Be submissive to your leaders and pray for them every day.